Hello, dear friends. Patrick here. Just a quick update on the Immortality Key by Brian Muraresku. Don't know if that's a real name or a pen name. I don't know what he's trying to rescue. I think last time I said I got to page 62, and now I'm on page 78. So very slow going through here. Just managed to read a little bit. Page 62, he says, speculation aside, so much remains unknown about drugs in the ancient world. The whole book is speculation. He says speculation aside, so even without speculation, so much remains unknown about drugs in the ancient world. And he makes up all these stories about drugs in the ancient world. And then he associates himself with other quote unquote scholars that think up the same ideas from these little snippets of information. He, exaggerates the importance of hallucinogenic drugs in ancient Greece in particular. So I want to show you here on page 71 just some of the ridiculous conclusions he comes to. He said that on page 71, the writer, he's talking about all kinds of Mother Earth theories and saying that the Christians destroyed the ancient beliefs that were more caring about the earth. And he blames the Christians for destroying the library at Alexandria, and he blames Christianity for destroying all these ancient secrets that the ancient Greeks participated in Ulysses. I don't know how to pronounce it. Eleusis. He keeps talking about Eleusis as this ancient Eleusinian religion that they participated in these drug-fueled activities, right? And so he says here, on the bottom of page 71, a public festival that they celebrated was a theme reconnecting to Mother Nature, right? It says it comes at a time of unprecedented planetary crisis hastened by climate change. Where have you heard that before? The decline of mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, and amphibians by an average of 60% since 1970 threatens the survival of human civilization. Some scientists are calling this the sixth mass extinction event, the likes of which have only occurred 5 other times in the past 443 million years. In the past, such events could result in the disappearance of 95% of all life on Earth. We are a fragile species on a fragile planet. He goes on to say the ancient Greeks knew that, but Eleusis was there to defend them against this. So this ancient religion that they had was more concerned about the earth than we have today. Now, he gives a footnote for this quote about the 60% and, the mass extinction event as in the back of the book. All his footnotes are BS. So this particular footnote is from the Daily Mail in the UK. Now, you might as well footnote the National Enquirer as a source of information about any current hot topic today. And so you can imagine how much weight I put into those particular statements. And it goes downhill from there. All his writing is just filled with speculation. Let's see. He's talking about the Eucharist again. He says, by the 4th century, the church's mainstream Eucharist of ordinary bread and wine had replaced whatever heretical sacraments came before. He just keeps sliding in the same lie over and over again in hopes that it'll eventually stick with the reader. So this is his method. It's just repeating the same lie over and over again. And again, I believe in the metaphysical when it comes to the Eucharist, because somebody says that this transubstantiation happens. It makes me want to participate in it. In my previous video, I was kind of, saying I don't believe in it. What I meant to say was that I believe in it because of the statements that are made about it. That's why I will participate in communion if I happen to find myself in a Catholic church. It's the same as if somebody says, oh, this food is sacrificed to idols, eat it. Then I won't eat it. Not that I believe that anything magical happen to the food, but for my conscience sake and the conscience sake of the person that said it. That's scriptural. We're told to live and act in such a way that we are obedient to what our conscience tells us is right. Anyway, let's see if I can move on here. Some other things that he talks about. He quotes this guy Ruck, who comes up with the same, imaginary ideas that he does. He says, I can only imagine the atmosphere in 405 BC. He goes on to talk about all these secret ceremonies. And he's just imagining it. He admits that he's just imagining it. And he says all these mysteries with drugged wine and all that. He's making it up. And he quotes other people that had the same crazy ideas. He quotes this guy who did a doctorate, Fritz Graf, and he says the god of ecstasy was the mark of Eleusis. And they had this psychedelic hypothesis, that they had these ancient rites, and they worshipped Dionysus, and they mixed in drugs with their wine, and then they reached this state of ecstasy, and then they try and apply that all to Christianity. He says here, he can only imagine what it was like in 405 BC, but then he says there's these clues. There's a thick trail of clues that we'll begin exploring later in this book. Clues that lead to a magical version of Jesus, equal parts natural healer, initiator of mysteries, and concoctor of drugged wine. This is where he says he's going with the book, right? Unknown to many faithful today, it's a version that places the founder of Christianity in the kind of detailed historical context that would have been self-evident to the earliest generations of Greek-speaking Paleo-Christians. So he's saying, this is how it was back then. I speculate that's how it was. And so if that's how it was, it would have been obvious to them that Jesus was this equal parts healer, initiator of mysteries, concoctor of drugged wine. And he just keeps repeating that theme. Many times he's leading up to the same conclusions that are based simply on speculation. So that's as far as I've got today. I just wanted to reiterate to you how frustrating it is to try and get through a book that is clearly based on nothing, based solely on speculation, using speculative sources, and just rephrasing lies in many different ways, repeating the theme over and over again. And that's what the history of the religion with no name, he calls them the Eleusinians, from Eleusis. And it's some kind of ancient Greek based on psychedelic drugs. And Christianity is simply trying to copy that. That's the premise of the book. And I got another, that much left to go through it. It's a torture. Who would actually put themselves through that? Never waste your time reading something like this. Life is too short to waste a single moment of your time going through this complete fabrication of utter BS rubbish. Never do that. Life is way too short for that. God loves us. He cares about us. He wants us to be happy. He created us. He explained how things work in the scriptures through the Psalms and the prophets and the apostles from the New Testament. We don't have to try and make things up in ancient history and blame it on Christianity that it was wiped out or some ridiculous notion. It's just to support his own atheism and to get that revenge that because he has no faith, he's got to blame it on somebody and something. And it's just spoken like a petulant child who's unable to express themselves. They're stuck in their childhood. That's all it is. Anyway, I'll try and get through it. Hopefully I don't have to make any more videos about this book because it's just a waste of time. But we'll see how it goes. God loves you. I love you. Have yourself a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.